Hello everyone, I was trying to record a new video for you and this is the third time that I'm doing it because I didn't notice that I paused the video, so I was talking and talking and talking and the video was not recorded. Okay, so this is about databases. This video is going to be pretty short. I'm going to try to speak not too much because I know that I speak a lot. So this video is just with 27 slides, really 22 slides, but I talk too much. I'm going to try to speak less in this video. Database. What is a database? A database is just an organized collection of information. Okay. In this opportunity, we are going to talk about just about a single database table. What that means, something like this. This is a single table. And this is the reason that this for you is going to be easier. Because when we talk about real databases, we are talking about a lot of tables related tables with other tables. In this example, we have something about employments. Okay. And if you notice, we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 tables. And those tables has some lines that join the tables that is called relationships. And that is so hard. You need to love databases to understand this. And I know this is not the case, so we are going to talk about just the basics. Okay? So what is inside a database? So what are the key components in a table? Okay, so the key components in a table, the fields. Remember that this part that sometimes we call them titles. Okay, the titles are called fields or columns. Okay, the other thing that we have here is this part. That part is called records, registers, or the information indeed. Okay, and some cases, and yeah, no, obviously all the time you need to do something that is called validation. Yes, in databases we talk about validation. Why? Because you need, for example, in age, obviously here you are going to use numbers. You are not going to allow to put letters instead of numbers. Okay. Here in the for example, in the email, you need to control that obviously you are putting an email there. And for example, this one that is called student ID, you are going to control or to validate that this field is not empty. Okay, so that is another component in a database. Okay, so we have fields, records, and validation. This is an example in which we are having students table. So we have the field name is student ID, the name, the age, and the grade. Okay. So here we need to talk about something that is called where are oh no, not right now. Okay, so we have these fields: student ID, name, age, and grade. So in this table, we have 4 fields. Each student is a record. So here I have an example. We have this student that is called David Reyes. We have another student that is called David Reyes too, and another student that is called Angela Lopez. Okay. And each field has a specific validation rule to prevent incorrect entries. For example, for the student ID, the validation is going to be the presence check. What that means that you are not going to allowing empty fields. So always you need to write something in there. For the name, could be that there is not any validation rule, so that means that in the name you could put empty spaces. But for me, is that is not a that is something that you must avoid. Try to every single information in a table has the presence check, so that could not be empty. Okay. For the age, maybe the validation could be a range check. Let's suppose that here for 10 graders, let's suppose that for 10 graders, we are going to have students between 15 and 16 years old. So if someone is going to put that this student in ninth grade is going to is going to be 13 years old, you need to put an error message that okay, this age is not adequate. Or for example, in 10th grade, you are going to put a 20 years old student. No, in this school. Okay, I think so. I don't know. And right. So here is the validation types using databases. So presence check, I already explained. Range check, I already explained. Type check is, for example, that in age you are going to write numbers and not letters. Length check, let's suppose that here in the email, you are going to control that you here need to write an email that has more than 15 characters. What that means? That, for example, I'm going to write that right at sb.edu.co, for example. Here it's possible that we have 15 characters. Maybe we don't have 15 characters here. So you need to control the length of what you are writing. Okay. This is length check. And obviously, the format check means that, for example, here we have a field that I call score. And in score, we are going to use just letters for A, maybe A plus, A, B, C, D, F, G. Okay. So you are not going to allow any other information, just arrange between A and G. Okay. This is an example. Okay. Next one. Why a single table? A single table is easier for you. You are going to be assessed about just one single table, okay? Because in a single table, you don't need something that I show you here that is relationship between tables. And this is harder, 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 harder. So um, that is the reason that we are going to talk about just a single table, okay? Now, what is a data type? This is something that you know already because we talk about this in algorithm and we talk about this in programming. So data type is just the kind of data that you are going to store in a field. So you need to select the right data type just to save from memory, improve performance, and prevent errors. Which data types are we going to use? Text alphanumeric, that means that you are going to use a mixing of letters and numbers, symbols, etc. Character, just a single letter, digit, or symbol. For example, this one that I told you. Here we're going to use just a single letter. Okay. Boolean is something. I'm going to give you an example. Let's suppose that we need to know if this student is active or not active in the school. Active means that you pay your enrollment and you are going all days to all the classes. So here you are going to have yes or not, or you are going to have false or true. So that is Boolean. Do you remember that? Integer, just numbers. You already know them. Real or float are the numbers that use decimal positions and date time. Okay. So how can you pick the right data type? So you need to make the next questions. The information that we are going to use is just text. So we are going to use text. It's a number. Okay, it's a number. We are going to use integer. Is yes, not value. Okay, we are going to use boolean, or it could be a date. So we are going to use date time. Are we going to make some calculations with them? If you are going to make calculations, that means that could be numbers, so could be integer or decimals. Um, are you going to use more than one character? So those questions are going to help you to pick the right data type. Now, this is something that you already know. And when I make this question in some mocks and in some activities that you have done, your answer here properly, because you know that a primary key is just a field in our database that we are going to use it as an identifier of the information that we have inside a database, and that information is unique. For example, here I have two David Reyes, but if you notice, there are different students. Why? Because one is from 10A and the other one is for 10B. One has 15 years old and the other one has 16 years old, and the student ID are different. Okay, so in this case, our primary key is student ID because help us to complete to accomplish these conditions that we have that information as unique. Okay, and obviously if you are going to use always we're going to use a primary key, so that one could not be empty, as I told you. Okay, so why the primary key is so important? Because ensures that integrity, that means that you are not going to have duplicated information, allows the database to search, sort, and link data efficiently, and is used to create relationships between tables. So talking about this once again, we create the relationships between the tables using something that is called the primary key. Okay. Okie dokie. Okay. Okay. So, how do you identify a primary key? So, you need to choose a field that is always unique, is not going to change, and is always present. That means that is you are going to use a field that never is going to be empty. Okay? So, this is the way that you are going to identify a good primary key. Okay? What is a not good primary key? The names, because you can have duplicated names, like this example. The phone numbers, because let's suppose that here you have your cell phone. Maybe today you have a specific number, and then tomorrow you decide to change your phone number. The email, you can change your email when the times you want, so the email is not going to be a good primary key. Okay, so as always, the student ID is the best choice that we have. Okay. Now, SQL. What is a SQL? SQL is just a command that you are going to use to interact with the database. So you can retrieve information, filter information to analyze the information. I'm going to give you just an example here. If I have table in which we have all the information in the table, this is retrieving that you are doing, selecting all the fields in a table and with not any condition. What that means? Here I have an example. And let me write an example here. I'm going to do it here. So let's suppose this. select asterisk from students. So with this single query, you are retrieving all the information from the table student, all the information. If you want to make this more specific, you are going to put, for example, where age is greater than 15, order by age. What what this mean? This means that you are going to retrieve all the information from the table students where the age is greater than 15 ordered by age. What that means that here is like this, that you have sort that you sort the information from the smallest to the largest. Okay. Now, if you want it, you can put here uh, this part. Wait, wait, wait. What this means that you are going to order the information by age, but from the largest to the smallest, descending way. Okay? Okie dokie. Now, the keywords you need to know. Select. That is the one that you are going to retrieve the information. This select means which fields are you going to select. Okay? Here we have an example. Select first name, last name from students. That means that you are going to retrieve only these columns. Okay. Now, from obviously the table here, from the table students. Okay. Next one. Where this is used when you need to do a condition in your query. That means that, for example, I want to retrieve all the students that are called David Reyes. Right? So I'm going to have this information. This is the condition that I want. I need all the students that are called David Reyes. Okay. And this is used here. Select asterisk from students where name equals to David Reyes. In this example here, we have select asterisk from students where age equals to 15. So in this example, if we are going to do the same, is something like this. Jen, we have just this student that are 15 years old. Okay, let's continue. Order by. I already explained this. You are going to select the first name, the age from students, order by age. In this way, if you don't put nothing here, you put it like this, the retrieve information is going to be ordered by age in ascending way. What ascending way means? This, that you are going to select to sort them from the small to the greater ones, but select all and select this in this way. But if you want to order in a different way, so you have just two options: leaving it like this or putting descending. So you are going to have in the other way, in this one, from the greater one to the small one. Okay. Okie dokie. Next one. Count. What is count? It's going to count how many rows meet the condition. What that means? So let me see. We are going to select all the fields from students where the age is equals to 16. And this word count means that you are going to count how many information do you have inside the database with students with 16 years old. Okay? Okie dokie. Next one. Sum. That means that you are going to sum some information. For example, let's suppose that I'm going to do something like this. So let me put it here. Select some ages from students. So what are we going to do? We are going to select this field and we are going to sum those ages. That means that the result that we are going to have is 49. Why? Because you are adding 18, 16, and 15, and the result is 49. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Now, we are going to finish this video with some examples. This is the table we have, a table with the students. And we are going to select first name score from students where age is equals to 15. So if you look at here, there are only two students with 15 years. So that means that we have Alice and Maria. So this is the result that we are going to have. Only first name and score. Why? Because here we put first name and score. And only the students with 15 years. Okay? Next example. The same table, but the query is select count from students where the score is greater than 18. So let's see. Score greater than 18, 80, sorry, we have 2. So that is the reason that the output is 2. And the last one. The same table, and we are going to select some. So we are going to add the score from the table students. So if you notice, we have 78, 85, 91. That is 254. Okay. So guys, this is the simple information that you are going to be assessed in the IGCSE. Okay. So let's see how long this video is. Just 22 minutes. So nice. So perfect for me. So bye bye.